welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Rex Ryan in year number 2, Marvin Lewis in year number 14, and each needing a victory here today. Let's check in for the first time today down along the sideline and welcome Holly Saunders. Hi, Holly.
Thank you very much, Tom. 19 days ago, Percy Harvin announced he was coming out of retirement, and today he's back in the Bills' starting lineup. Now, he only took 21 snaps against Seattle 1 week ago, but Coach Rex Ryan says you can definitely expect him to be a bigger part of the offense today. I spoke with Percy moments ago. He said that the main focus right now is on his conditioning. There is a big difference between being in shape and being in football shape. The latter requires you to take more reps with your team. That's where he's at right now. And in a moment of reflection, guys, he looked around and said, why the heck would I be at home on a Sunday when I can be out here doing what I love, Tom?
Amen to that. Well, turned chilly starting yesterday. It was 75 degrees here on Friday. We'll be lucky to hit 40 here today, but the sun is shining. Buffalo won the toss and deferred to getting the football to the second half. The rookie Alex Erickson has had a couple of big returns in each of the last 2 weeks, and he awaits on the kickoff and will take a knee. So here comes a very inconsistent but certainly more than capable Cincinnati offense led by their 6-year quarterback Andy Dalton. In each of his first 5 years, he has led the Bengals to the playoffs, although last year, of course, Charles, he missed the playoff game after breaking his thumb late in the year.
Yeah, and when he did, remember he was making a tackle on Stephon Tuitt after an interception. A lot of coaches around the league discussed, quarterback, when you throw an interception, do you need to go make the tackle? We need you out there.
We'll see all kinds of various formations from this Bengal offense. Of course, their former coordinator, Hugh Jackson, now the head coach in Cleveland. And Ken Zampese, the guy running it now. And right from the get-go, a problem all year long for the Bengals has been protecting Andy Dalton. He has been sacked a whopping 28 times through the first 9 games.
And that's a good sign for the Buffalo Bills, because the guy that sacked Andy Dalton, Marcel Darius, back from the Bills, who's only played in 1 game so far this year. And he is a force when healthy.
Darius wears number 99, 2-time Pro Bowl defensive lineman.
94. Congo.
An early movement, it appeared, on the right side of the Bengals offensive line.
False start. Offense number 70. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Sometimes when you try to trick everybody with different formations, you end up confusing your own guys. Just line up and play. That's not a bad thing to do, because you're talented enough, and right there a guy that can line up to play, Tyler Eifert. He could be a matchup problem for safeties and linebackers for the Bills.
Eifert missed the first 6 games of his season. In 2 games back, he has 13 catches for over 200 yards. In and out of the hands of their Pro Bowl wide receiver, A.J. Green. And don't look now, but Green is down on the field and has not gotten back up.
The coverage is Stephon Gilmore, number 24 in white for Buffalo. Look how aggressive he is going for the football. The Bills got called out by their head coach Rex Ryan. Said they weren't covering people well enough. Jobs were open for challenge. And Stephon Gilmore, he responded early today.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
This late arriving sellout crowd in shock right now that A.J. Green is having to leave on a golf cart. The 3rd play of the game. Dump it off out of the backfield to Giovanni Bernard, and he'll be well short of a first down. I'm not sure if this game could have started any worse for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, it changes the whole game plan, too, because you look and you'll see A.J. Green right here, and toward the end, he'll grab the back of his leg around the hamstring area. But this is how it changes the game plan. The Bills were very vulnerable to balls over the top. 7 receptions over 50 yards. There's not much better deep threats in the league than A.J. Green. That changes everything, and it frankly takes the pressure a little bit off those embattled Bills corners.
Short punt returned by the former longtime Bengal Brandon Tate. There is a penalty flag on the far side of the field, brought back to the 41-yard line. We wait on the flag.
During the kick, illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 29. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
It is a right hamstring injury, we're told, to A.J. Green. His return is questionable. Out comes the 27-year-old Hampton, Virginia native in his 6th season, but his 2nd as a starting quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, and that is Tyrod Taylor. He can throw it. We know he can run it. Many believe he's coming off his best game as an NFL quarterback, even in a loss to Seattle, when he accounted for 332 yards of offense. And he'll run it on first down and not much running room. But this is a run-first Buffalo offense.
And it should be, and that should help Tyrod Taylor get that passing game in rhythm. And a new starter today, as Charles mentioned in the open, Ryan Groy, good football player, and he'll be tested against a very physical front seven of the Bengals.
And really a shame for Eric Wood, not only because he's out for the year, but he grew up here. He grew up about 10 minutes west of this stadium and went to Elder High School, longtime football power here in the Greater Catholic League. Taylor flushed out of the pocket, dumps it off, catch is made, and it will, well, he's still on his feet. And cutting to the other side is Reggie Bush. Not heard his name much this year. In fact, that's only his 6th catch of the entire year. And there is another injured Bengal on the field.
And I believe that's Vontaze Burfict, their Pro Bowl linebacker, who's down early. Now, that'd be 2 big injuries for the Bengals. We'll see how it is. But what a nice play for the Bills out of the gate. Reggie Bush showing some of that old game-breaking playmaking ability.
This game is sponsored by Bud Light. Make the right call. Drink responsibly.
Perfect, able to get up and walk off the field.
See Pecco, number 94. Reggie Bush made a shake. Pecco took out Perfect.
Go to the ground game, and this is LaShawn McCoy. And he's been doing this for a long, long time. Run out of bounds at the Bengal 35-yard line. He's rushed for now over 700 yards so far this season.
And how about the block by Richie Incognito, for one, to be able to seal. See that? Called seal. See how he flipped his hips, forced the guy inside. McCoy reads Incognito's block and does what he does best. Get his open field, make people miss.
And he did it in tandem with number 76, John Miller, the right guard, 79, Jordan Mills, the right tackle. And then you also noticed in there another nice block by Jerome Felton, the fullback.
He's good.
Go! First down, play action. Taylor well protected. And it's caught by LaShawn McCoy, who not only brings an outstanding ball carrying ability, but he's so good catching the ball out of the backfield. This Bengal defense was the #2 scoring defense in the NFL last season. Not quite as good so far this year.
We highlighted Geno Atkins at the top of the game. Vontaze Burfict would be a guy who just went out of the game, but when he's in the middle and playing, he can cover ground well in the pass game as well as the run game. We'll see how they replace him.
Catch is made by Percy Harvin. First time they put it in his hands. It'll bring up a 3rd down, and we check in for the first time with Carissa Thompson in Los Angeles.
Thank you, Tom. We head to New York. Bears, Giants. The 2-7 Bears looking to get on track here. Jay Cutler finds Zach Miller for that 19-yard touchdown. Miller leads the team in receptions after a missed extra point. Chicago's up 6-0. Tom?
Guys, they need a guy like Cutler throwing the ball in New York today. They're talking about winds being up to 50 miles an hour, and his arm can cut through it.
Boy, 56! Go!
So 3rd down, they're coming after Taylor. He gets rid of the ball wide open. It's Robert Woods, and he is cutting back to the inside. And it's 1st and goal, Buffalo at the 5. Woods coming off a monster game. 10 catches, 162 yards against Seattle.
This is just a total bust here, because watch, Woods number 10 in white. We got a blitz and no one over to cover it. Because the blitz happened right there. Josh Shaw from the nickel position went after the quarterback, but no one came over to cover Robert Woods. He was wide open, easy pitch and catch, and a nice run.
The biggest problem with this defense is secondary lack of communication. Lack of communication equals lack of execution.
Taylor going to keep it himself, and he is maybe able to pick up a yard.
You know, when we talk with Paul Gunther, guys, the defense coordinator of Cincinnati, remember how he described the offense of the Bills? He said it's like trying to defend Navy with better athletes. Yep. You mentioned triple option in our meetings, Chris. We just saw that right there. And now we got a flag at the end of the play.
Well, you know, I haven't seen that, Charles.
Illegal formation, offense, number 77 was on the end of the line. 5-yard penalty.
That flag came in very, very late after the play had been completed and already each team huddling up again.
Yeah, I haven't seen that offense in the NFL and even just watching college football since my Little League coach, Patty Papadopoulos, ran that. We ran the heck out of it. We used to call it the Y-bone when we have two guys in there.
Right. Right, kind of an inverted, with Y-bone, inverted wishbone.
Like wishbone, yeah. Yep. Take the fullback, put him back at tailback.
Inverted.
Well, this Bengal defense has really struggled on the opponent's first possession of the game. They've allowed 38 points, 5 touchdowns, and a field goal, including 4 of the last 5 games, surrendering touchdowns.
They like to throw double moves here, too, when they throw it.
It's first down and goal. Woods run out of bounds at the 7-yard line. It brings up 2nd and goal for Buffalo.
So as a Bengals defensive coordinator, you're gonna, or how am I going to call this game? On 2nd and goal, the one thing you're forced to do, because you can eliminate some of your blitz coverages or take a man out of your pass rush because of the ability of Taylor to run the football.
And guys, remember at the top, Holly Saunders told us about Percy Harvin's return. Here he is, top of the screen in the lineup.
Give it to McCoy, bounces to the outside, and he will waltz untouched into the end zone. Buffalo, a touchdown on its opening drive of the afternoon.
So in order to make people miss in space, the one physical possession a running back needs is great vision. Watch the jump cut right here. First of all, they're going to cave this side down. Now watch the jump cut. Bam, incognito. Again with the hip flip, the seal, and right there's that jump cut, Charles. That's beautiful, isn't it?
They did such a great job blocking it. He didn't have to make anyone miss. The jump cut in the beginning because he read the blocking pattern, but there was no one there that he had to make miss. He waltzed in from there. Excellent job by the offensive line of the Bills.
I would have got him to his flag football.
Good point. Yeah. Wasn't close enough to get to the flag.
So now the point after, coming up from Dan Carpenter, and it is good. Bills with 17 rushing touchdowns this year, most in the league. They're out to an early 7-0 lead.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Nissan, innovation that excites. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL.
5 out of 5 on the drive was Tyrod Taylor. We mentioned his 17 rushing touchdowns. This Buffalo offense, the number 2 rushing offense in the league.
Remember last year they ran for 152 yards per game. This year they're at 155, second in the league to the Dallas Cowboys. They will press the run all game long.
Out to the 25, the Bengals will get it for their 2nd possession tomorrow night. National Geographic invites you to go to Mars, join humankind's greatest adventure, and find out how we made Mars home. The new series Mars continues tomorrow night on National Geographic. Some news on Vontaze Burfict. Holly Saunders.
Yeah, Tom, I'm just told that he is probable to return. The trainers were working with him on the sidelines. He's sitting down right now, but he was standing up. They were just manipulating his neck a little bit. He had his helmet on. Looked like he might have gone in during the last series, but didn't quite get in there. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
All right, Holly, thank you very much. Spinning out of a tackle was Hill and could not avoid the second one. Kyle Williams slowed him down from the start. The rookie number 1 pick, Lawson, finishes him off.
Look at him there on the tilt, Chris.
Yeah, the tilt is because now you're going to force the guard to try to get to him, and that tilt gives him a better get off and better body position to split the double team. That's why they tilt the nose guard, split the double team, and get that penetration. That's the technique executed perfectly by Kyle Williams.
And the 3 of us are old enough to remember who really made the tilt famous in this game. That was Joe Green with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Terrorized every center in the league when he would line up like that and made play after play. And this Bills team, guys, looks energized and motivated coming off of their open week.
Into the hands of Brandon LaFell. And that slight little delay may have cost him some extra yardage. A penalty flag comes down right where he was run out of bounds. We are not even
Illegal block in the
4
back.
minutes.
Offense number 77. Penalties decline. Third down.
Not even 7 full minutes into this game. The Bengals committed a penalty on the second offensive play. They lose their best offensive player on the next play, A.J. Green. We don't know for how long, but it did not look good leaving on a cart. They give up a touchdown. They have an injury to Burfict. And now they're looking at 3rd and forever for a second straight possession.
Remember, this is a Bengals team that was in London a few weeks ago, coming off of a short week on Monday night this week.
Great protection this time, and a great throw by Dalton, and that'll convert a first down on a 3rd and 14, finding infrequently used James Wright.
How about the protection up front, though? This is a much maligned offensive line. Last year, remember, Andy Dalton was only sacked 20 times in the 13 games he played. It's at 28 already coming into today, and I think there's already been one. That time they protected him really well, and James Wright beat the coverage downfield.
And double teamed Lorenzo Alexander. 10 sacks so far this year. And guess what? That's knowing your opponent, because that's a guy I double team all day.
Hey, let's go. Duo down. Let's go.
Play clock down to 2. They get it off and hand it off to Jeremy Hill. Hill rushed for better than 1,100 yards his rookie year, and a penalty flag comes in yet again.
That'd be Jerry Hughes, number 55 for Buffalo. Didn't hold his poise at the end of the play and got a personal foul against his team. I'm
After
willing
the
to
play,
bet.
personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense number 55, headbutt. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
We've seen that from the Bengals, number 55, from time to time. Now they get Jerry Hughes of the Bills.
Look at him right here at the end. Throws a headbutt in there. For what reason? Chris, help me with that one. You played this game a long time. What's that going to do to help your ball club at this point?
It does nothing. And I don't know if you're trying to intimidate anybody, but anybody that's intimidated on an NFL football field doesn't belong on an NFL football field. There's no intimidation.
Dump it off to LaFell, cuts it back to the inside, and he's to the 41-yard line. So a nice pickup of 5 on first down. The Bengals converting a 3rd down and 14, then helped by the 15-yard penalty.
That's what you want to start doing. When you see the Bills pack everybody up in there because of the loss of A.J. Green, they're not really afraid of anybody else going deep. So that allows you to put 8 in a box, and here goes a fancy formation by the Bengals.
Put it in the hands of Hill, and for all that, you picked up 2 yards.
And he missed a hole. That's a bad read by him. He missed the hole, was inside, he jumped outside.
See, this is Hill here. This is all the blocking, and watch where the hole actually develops. Where's the vision, right? Because he ends up seeing it here, but the hole was back there.
They had enough people to block that. That was a good play, just not executed. That's the vision thing we go back to, guys.
Bengals last week just 2 of 11 on 3rd down in the loss Monday night to the Giants. Dalton able to complete the pass to James Wright, his second catch on this possession, and there's a penalty flag in the secondary on the other side of the field. This will be against Buffalo.
Holding defense number 28 prior to the pass. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
You cannot talk enough about the roller coaster ride this Bills secondary has been on. You know, they start the year, the first 5 games, they only give up 2 touchdown passes. They intercept 6 of the opponent's passes. Since then, they have given up 8 touchdown passes without a single pick.
Their last interception, when they played Los Angeles Rams in the Coliseum, Mikel Roby Coleman had 2 that day, and I believe that was October 9th.
Dalton again well protected, and it looked like he lost his footing as he went to throw the ball. There's a flag again right in front of the Buffalo sideline. So go against the Bengals. And we will check in with Carissa Thompson back in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Tom. Cowboys 8-1, looking to win 9 in a row, but not if Terrence West has something to say about it. This impressive 18-yard rush right there, his 4th of the year. Baltimore up early, 7-0. Tom?
That is a very, very important game for these Bengals. I mean, they have work to do themselves, but they need a Baltimore loss in Dallas today. And you see the Ravens have never lost to the Dallas Cowboys.
How about that? And this is the one where everyone feels like Dallas has a major advantage, and that's when you have to be careful.
2nd down and 10. And Hill looking for running room, and it's just not there. So now another 3rd down and long for the Bengals, as Gilmore ran Hill out of bounds.
And Chris, when I watch this Bills team so far, I'm seeing a team that's motivated off of the open week. I see a team that's a little bit more rested. And I see guys that did get challenged about their positions in practice. Even though there have been some penalties, they seem very quick, very aggressive. What do you see?
I see Darius coming in and making a difference and not letting that line of scrimmage change, which allows linebackers to run more freely to the football.
9th play of this drive. So rookie Tyler Boyd that was in motion and movement on the right side. Is it against the Bengals or against Buffalo? More than likely the right side of the Bengal line, although we'll see.
I hope both teams settle in pretty soon, otherwise these officials are going to have torn rotator cuffs from throwing flags.
Or you guys are going to miss your flights. Oh boy, he jumped.
Neutral zone infraction. The defense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Because there was a neutral zone infraction. That's why he jumped.
Well, I'm not worried about the flight, Chris, because I'm going to move in with you if that's the case. But watch up here at the top. This is Oboye. The right tackle has had his share of struggles. And on movement, he takes off to get back into his pass set. Jerry Hughes ended up drawing him into that penalty.
This Bengal offensive line has been a great line the last number of years, and the only change they made from last year to this year was they let Andre Smith go to Minnesota in free agency. And Oboye, a #1 pick. Threading the needle there is Dalton to the rookie out of Pittsburgh, Tyler Boyd, and the Bengals convert on 3rd down with help to the penalty.
So an offensive coordinator knows the defensive coordinator. If I give him bunch, I'm going to play get some type of man jump coverage. Right there, that bunch route allows Boyd to work inside because of delayed man coverage.
And how about Dalton standing in and firing with people in his face?
10th play of the drive. Off target is Dalton's 2nd down. We're talking about that Dallas win. If they were able to beat Baltimore and the Bengals somehow beat Buffalo here today, Cincinnati would go to Baltimore, knowing a win could put them in 1st place in the AFC North despite their struggles this season. Caught by Boyd again, and he's very close to a 1st down inside the 7-yard line. Preston Brown drags him down, a gain of 11. It's 1st and goal for the Bengals.
It's all about matchups right here. Tyler Boyd's looking on Preston Brown. He knows that also. So look where his eyes go right away. Preston Brown makes the critical mistake of looking back at the quarterback when you have that underneath coverage on the wide receiver, not knowing and should know that he's going to pull away as soon as your eyes go back to the quarterback.
All right, Bengals have really been extremely up and down inside the red zone this year. That is Hill, and he's inside the 5, down to the 2. They started the year miserably in the red zone. Got on a nice run for a 4-game stretch, and then the red zone offense, Charles, really let them down against the Giants. That's a game they should have won on Monday night.
And one of the biggest problems they're having is they're averaging less than 4 yards of play in the red zone. So they're not getting themselves into favorable down and distance situations in tight spots. But here they have a great opportunity. I want to see if they want to go power set here or if they want to run to the margins because of what Darius has been doing inside early in this game.
Got to tackle a tight end right there.
Dalton going to run it. And it is a touchdown for Andy Dalton. He told Charles Davis. Charles said, hey, I remember that guy that used to run in his bays back in TCU. He might look up here at you, Mr. Davis.
Well, we did talk about it. He ran for 1,500 yards at TCU. So it's zone read. The fake is going to be, fake mesh point's going to be here. And then watch Dalton going out the back door right there. See the read on number 55, Jerry Hughes? Hughes sees it just enough to get a hand on Dalton. But people have to remember, Andy Dalton, 6'2", 220 pounds, has a little force to him when he runs the football, and he gets into the end zone.
And he's a good athlete. One of
Much
those
better
guys.
than people think.
Exactly. I mean, he's a really good athlete and a great execution. And when you run that play in the red zone, Tom and Charles, you must be patient, which Andy Dalton was.
You know what that play reminded me of, guys? That's what the Bills do all the time. So if this is basketball, teams that press hate being pressed, right? So they just gave them a dose of their own medicine, came right at them and knocked in. Right now, remember, every touchdown play has to be reviewed, and they're checking it now to make sure that the ball was kept over the goal line.
Now, once he breaks a plane, it's not like a receiver
right.
like we saw with Tyler Boyd last week. Once that ball breaks a plane, that is a touchdown. They're going to take a look at it, though. It's under review. We'll let you know when we come back.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Dalton had been tripped up by Hughes. The hand was down underneath him. It wasn't a forearm, which would have put him down on the ground, but he was into the end zone. That was a pretty easy one from this vantage point.
Mike Nugent missed a huge point after over in London. A game that wound up being a tie with the Redskins. High snap. And did he miss it again? He did.
That's on the center.
Touchdown for Dalton, but that missed extra point looms large even in the opening quarter. (7-6) Buffalo. The point after is missed. It was a bad snap, a high snap.
Sometimes when you get that high snap, it screws up the timing. More often than not, when we see bad snaps, we'll see a ball pushed because the ball's just a tad late and the timing's screwed up. 2 points to that. He's got one job, 46. Put the ball in the guy's hands from 7 yards away. He's got one job. You have to make that adjustment and make the field goal. Again, a lack of execution in the red zone. That can be a red zone play as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Clark Harris out of Rutgers was the long snapper. He's been with the team for a while. That was a little bit high, but I will say I thought Nugent still should be able to push that through the post.
Brandon Tate, former Bengal, out across the 20. And still on his feet up to the 32-yard line. Now they're wondering here in Cincinnati, a playoff team 5 years in a row, but who are the Bengals? They were the talk of the league last year, 8-0. But since week 10 of last season, they've gone 7-10-1. In fairness, they lost Andy Dalton last year. But you add to that their last 10 games against teams with winning records, and their schedule this year has been a brutal schedule. Nonetheless, 0-9-1 against teams with a winning record.
Well, the big problem is, Andy Dalton's had a good year, but if you look at this team and how they're built, especially when A.J. Green was healthy, 22 points a game is not going to get it done.
First down, Tyrod Taylor. And a dangerous throw, and it's caught. It was tipped by Adam Jones and then lands in the arms of Robert Woods.
I think Adam had a big six on his mind, Charles.
He should have had this one. Because look at him. Look at his eyes back into the quarterback. Now he's with the receiver Woods. Look at Jones. Look at the break. He's essentially running that route with him. And the ball just goes through his hands, and Woods focuses on it and hauls it in. Look at this. Should be an interception, turned into a completion.
Watching this will make you wince a little bit.
Robert Woods with the catch. And you see the tackle over the top. Carlos Dansby, 56, but his left leg underneath him with the extra guys on top of him. We certainly hope he's going to be okay.
He basically missed 2 full weeks before he came back against Seattle. That was 2 weeks ago before the off week. He had a career high 10 catches, 162 yards.
And people talk about wide receivers sometimes are like divas. Well, not that guy. He's one tough guy. And the thing he's tough or why he's tough is because when you watch him block downfield, he gives you everything he has and he executes it.
And you have to understand the Bills have had no continuity with their passing game this year. A lot of it is because they haven't had the receivers. And look at this. Going Wildcat. This is Tyrod Taylor here, the quarterback.
And the ball is fumbled. And a scramble for the football. Looks like Buffalo may have covered it up. We'll see, though. They tried to put it in the hands on a jet sweep to Percy Harvin. And nearly a disaster. It belongs to the Bills.
So a couple things right here. Even the simple things like taking a handoff. If you're on the couch November 1st and you're playing November 20th, that's not an easy thing to do. Now mark this down. That's 2 turnovers that the Bengals should have had. And you're talking about field position turnovers in an evenly matched game. That's going to make a difference, or very well could make a difference.
Plus turnovers on consecutive plays. The completion to Woods, and now the fumble, and Taylor is dropped. Michael Johnson, the first one there to wrap him up behind the line of scrimmage. And that'll be a loss of 5. It brings up 3rd down for Buffalo.
Hey, Tom and Charles, this is Tyrod Taylor because he missed the check down. You don't have to make a great play every time, do you, Charles?
No.
Get in the hands of your guys in space.
What you're talking about, Chris, is he's looking deep downfield, and instead of taking the shorter throw because there was time, because the coverage ate up the downfield throws. Take the check down, put it in the hands of the receiver, and let him roam.
LaShawn McCoy was sitting at 6 yards. Nobody on him.
We're down at 19. And Taylor flushed out of the pocket again. And what a play by Burfict to run him down. That is a big league play by Vontaze Burfict to catch the fleet-footed Tyrod Taylor.
So number one, how excited is Cincinnati that Burfict is able to come back into the game and play because of all he gives them on defense. And number two, remember what I was saying about Buffalo at the start of this game? The energy has switched, guys. Cincinnati is the one that's on their toes and punching right now. Their defense is really starting to play.
That's because Burfict has to be good for their defense to be good. If he's bad, defense bad. If he's good, their defense is good.
We have reached the end of the opening quarter in Cincinnati. It's a 1-point game. We're back after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Stadium in Cincinnati, a 1-point Buffalo lead. And if you're just joining us, yes, it was a failed point after. A high snap, and Mike Nugent bounced it off the right upright. Erickson the fair catch, and here come the Bengals as Woods makes his way back to the Buffalo locker room. At least it's good to see he is up and walking.
That looked nasty, but you know that's why you stretch and go through yoga and Pilates and
everything,
lifting, everything you do to get yourself to absorb the contact. You not only get in shape to play the game, you get in shape to endure the game.
You're a Bikram guy, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I don't even know what that is, but yeah, sure, why not?
Don't know what it is, but I'm in.
They have it at curves.
Oh, jeez, we're going down that road again. So first down for the Bengals from their own 11-yard line. A lengthy drive leading to a touchdown the last time they had it. This is Giovanni Bernard. And that is his first carry of the afternoon. They have a nice 1-2 punch in this Cincinnati backfield. We talked so much about Buffalo. The combination of power, speed, and elusiveness from Hill and Bernard.
Just haven't gotten Bernard going the same way as they have in the past. You know, he's a little bit behind in terms of production on the ground, but he can explode at any time with his combination of being able to run it and catch it.
That's a missed throw by Dalton. He had Tyler Boyd wide open on that quick slant. It would have been a first down. Instead, it's third coming up.
And those are, I mean, those are little things, but those are like hidden yards that are lost that determine a football game because that moves the chains. Now, if they don't convert this third down, now we're talking about a field position game. And he usually doesn't miss that, TB.
Well, Dalton is highly accurate. Comes in up over 65% on the year. Stands in the pocket and delivers a strike this time to Boyd. The question is, did Boyd hang on? He did. It's a young man at Tyler Boyd who broke all of Larry Fitzgerald's receiving records in Pittsburgh. They really like his future.
He is. He's good with run after catch, and this is a nice job by the little guy, Giovanni Bernard. Look at him holding up with everything he has and kicking out Preston Brown to allow a throwing lane for Andy Dalton. That's being a team player. Well done, Giovanni.
First down, and able to make the catches again right. So you got to give Ken Zambezi a little bit of credit here now. I mean, they lose their #1 offensive weapon the first series of the game. And now these last two series, the Bengals have made some adjustments, and at least they're moving the ball.
With your quick strike passing, right, Charles?
Quick strike passing, and guys are stepping up that you wouldn't expect. James Wright already starting to get involved in the game, number 86, not normally a first-line pass catcher.
Bernard, no running room this time. It'll bring up 3rd down and about 2.
You know what the mentality is in the NFL locker room? When a guy goes down, you feel bad for him, but it's on the game. You know what the guy, right, going in? One man's loss, another man's opportunity. This is my time to shine and go do it. And every one of those teammates, yeah, we feel bad for AJ. This is just truth, folks. I'm not trying to be harsh. Go in, you got to do it, you got to pick it up, let's go. That's truth.
In most cases, that guy running in wanted to know why he wasn't out there in the first place. He thought something was wrong with what they were evaluating.
Exactly. That's the way I want it. And you should want it if you're a coach.
3rd and a yard. Bengals couldn't convert 3rd and a yard in a big play last week, but they give it to Hill, led by the H-back Hewitt. And that is a 1st down to the 41-yard line.
You know what we have here today, guys, that you don't see much in the NFL anymore? Both teams have lead fullbacks. Okay, watch Ryan Hewitt, number 89 right here, leading. Short yardage, get the lead guy, look at him, block it inside, helps double a defensive tackle, and what do they end up with? A 1st down with Jeremy Hill with a nice space.
Dalton going to keep this one, waiting on a block, and he barely gets back to the line of scrimmage.
You think the Bills might have recognized that a little bit because of working against their own offense? In this case, it appeared that they did. Tyler Eifert, the tight end, was coming from left to right to become the lead blocker for Andy Dalton after the ball fake inside, and they played off of him well and spilled the play for a very short gain.
Well, we have another injured player on the field. It looks like Preston Brown, 3rd-year linebacker, who grew up here in Cincinnati as well. Went to Northwest High School, about 20 minutes north of downtown. There are a lot of connections in this game with Buffalo players and or coaches with this city of Cincinnati. Rob Ryan used to coach here at the University of Cincinnati as a defensive coordinator, and the Cincinnati native Brown will walk off the field injured.
Well, Tom, you know that the great state of Ohio produces a lot of great college football players and NFL players, and right there you see his knee. Does a good job of defending those cut blocks with his hands. He got his knee a little bit.
Hill looking for running room, and it's just not there.
Zach Brown and the band got him right there.
Guys, I'm just watching this game, and here's my early observation for the Buffalo defense for what I'm seeing. They're going to crowd that offensive line, just what Chris has talked about earlier, and they're going to dare Andy Dalton and the guys in the perimeter without A.J. Green to beat them. That's how they're going to try and make this game. Not Jeremy Hill, but can the guys out wide win their one-on-ones?
Intercepted on the far side of the field by Gilmore, and he will take it inside the 5-yard line. That was a bad decision made by Andy Dalton, and the Bills are in business, 1st and goal.
Stephon Gilmore runs the route for him. He's going to play a little trail technique, working on LaFell. LaFell never creates any separation, so he's never threatened down the field. And when he breaks, he does not look to the receiver. He comes right back to the ball because he knows he's tight coverages on the receiver. If that ball's thrown, he reads the mail, as they say, Charles.
Remember, in the beginning of this year, Stephon Gilmore and Ronald Darby were considered one of the top cornerback duos in the league. They've had their struggles. They were challenged last week in practice in the open week to get better, and they have responded early in this game.
55!
Ball at the 3-yard line. That's Taylor, and running the option. He will be dragged down basically at the line of scrimmage. It's 2nd down and goal.
Here's how you know this is an outside run, because you have Reggie Bush and McCoy in the backfield together. Now, I guarantee you those guys are great runners, but they're not interested in being lead blockers, are they, Charles? So Cincinnati recognizes that, so you don't even honor that little play fake knowing that ball's going outside.
You're saying LaShawn McCoy's not going to line up as the lead fullback, put a neck roll on, and run an ISO?
And probably come with maybe a little play action here if you have it, off of the same type of look.
This would be the down 4.
They give it to McCoy, and Michael Johnson tracks him from behind. That's a loss of 1.5 yards. Both of these defenses have done a marvelous job all year of denying points after a turnover.
Certainly do. And watch what Michael Johnson, watch how he runs flat down the line of scrimmage. Most pass rushers, they want to bow out going towards the quarterback. He reads the run and comes flat down the line of scrimmage to take away that space for the runner and creates a nice defensive play.
Third down and goal. Taylor looking around. Now he'll run it. And he will. Did he get there? It is a touchdown for Tyrod Taylor. And there is a penalty flag down on the field. And it's against Buffalo.
Holding. Offense number 64. 10-yard penalty. Third down.
Richie Incognito.
Is their power guy, and Richie Incognito inside small spaces. We saw him pull earlier, but right there, look at the hold he's got on the shoulder pads of number 95, Wallace Milbury, who they just got back from Detroit.
That's a little touchy for me, but Tyrod Taylor, not only is he a great athlete, but he's tough. You have to be if you're a running quarterback.
And he took that big hit right at the end. Rex Ryan said he knows how to protect himself well. He's going to need to do more of that today.
All right, so they back him up 5. Third down and goal from the 8-yard line.
Percy Harvin not knowing where to line up.
Go!
Crossing pattern, and the Bengals smother it. That is a very important stand, certain momentum stand in this game for the home team.
Well, Tom, you brought it up not long ago about the Bengals' ability to erase the turnovers, not allow a lot of points. They've done a great job. And here's Percy Harvin on the outside, Chris.
Well, here's the thing. He really doesn't know what to do right here. He's kind of just running a route. And then after that play, what he did, he looked around and threw his hands out like, what's going on? And that's, again, when you want to get him to the ball, it's screens and jet sweeps. Anything downfield, forget about it.
26-yard field goal try, good by Carpenter. So the turnover, Buffalo had the ball first and goal from a 3 after this interception by Gilmore. But only 3 points in a 4-point game.
Today's game is sponsored by Burger King. Now get 3 large pancakes for only 89 cents, only at Burger King. By the new 2017 Jeep Grand Cherokee, free to be. And by Walmart. Find gifts, groceries, and more this season.
Bright sunshine here in Cincinnati, but temperatures not a whole lot above the freezing level. Carpenter, the 26-yard field goal, but negative yardage on a scoring drive after the interception.
Could have been much worse for Cincinnati. Credit to their defense for holding up, but in the break, Chris and I were talking about the play Giovanni Bernard made, making the tackle on the interception by Stephon Gilmore.
Erickson for the first time is going to bring it out. And cuts it back to the inside. This young man has had back-to-back excellent return games. Rookie out of Wisconsin. So the Bengals without A.J. Green back on offense, trailing 10-6. Small screen, stadium-sized content. Watch live local Sunday games right on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Buffalo 10, Cincinnati 6. You can't speak how important this game is for each of these teams. The Bengals in what has been a surprisingly down year in the generally rugged and very good AFC North. Feel like they're right in the middle of this thing, only a game and a half back at 3-5-1. And for the Bills, they need a late season run here, more than likely to think about a wild card spot.
They're thinking that they need to win 6 of their last 7 to be in that conversation.
Giovanni Bernard breaks it to the outside. Good running room. That'll be a gain of close to 9. And let's check in downstairs with Holly Saunders.
Guys, just an update on Bills receiver Robert Woods, who was taken to the locker room. He is out of the game with a knee injury. And before he headed to the locker room, I could watch him here with the training staff. He was looking up at the sky like, here we go. Oh, my goodness. Didn't seem to be in much pain, but you could see the emotion, Tom.
Anytime you have a knee injury like that, Ollie, as a player, you automatically think the worst.
And he's been dinged a lot this year and was just getting back into form.
Bernard again, and he's able to slip forward, needed a yard, and got a first down.
So when you lose A.J. Green, let's move ahead. What's an offensive coordinator thinking? Well, I tried to throw a deeper ball that last series. It got picked by Stephon Gilmore. So now I got to go back to the short passing game and get the running game going. Now, as a defensive coordinator, you know what you're thinking? They don't have a deep threat. Until they prove to me that they can get one past me, I'm moving my people up close to the line of scrimmage. I'm playing an 8-man front, expecting you to try to pound the rock.
Hey, the other thing, they've done a good area. We have not called the name Tyler Eifert so far today, and he has had 2 big games since coming back from being injured. And that one thrown out of bounds, incomplete, heavy pressure by Lorenzo Alexander.
Charles, you see me circle? Because I circled because there were 10 guys within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage because there's no deep threat.
And you circled all those guys.
10. Yep.
But here comes the guy, Lorenzo Alexander. 10 sacks coming into the game. And now, with all those people there, where are they going to come from, what angles? And he beats him with an up and under move against Andrew Whitworth, one of the better left tackles in the game, and got Dalton off his spot.
There's that slant they misfired on a moment ago. They come right back to it, and that's a first down for Tyler Boyd. And we take a moment and send it back to Los Angeles to Kurt Menefee.
Well, Minnesota trying to end its 4-game losing streak, hosting Arizona. Matt Asiata, little 2-yard run. The Kai Forbath, who was just signed this week, missed the extra point. It's a 3-point game in the second quarter. Tom, Chris, Charles, and Holly.
First down, Dalton rolling left, looking and throws it away. 2nd and
10. Good choice by Andy Dalton. Here's the problem that they're having. Any type of route over 10 yards, there's no separation created. And so where the Bills were lacking was their man-to-man coverage, and they were getting beat. But see, there's nobody open. There's nobody creating separation, and there's nobody threatening downfield. That's why you got to attack them quick with picks and rub routes.
When A.J. Green's not on the field, you're a much more confident defender out on the perimeter.
You believe it.
Bernard trying to pick up the slack has had a nice drive so far for the Bengals, who had very little running from Jeremy Hill. 6 carries, 9 yards. Now they get 5 carries over 20 from Giovanni Bernard.
And guys, I go back to something we talked about during the week, and Marvin Lewis co-signed on. Big, strong guys up front are going to determine this game. Both sides of the ball. I think for Cincinnati, that offensive line, even though there's going to be a lot of people in there with Buffalo, they've got to find a way to create space for their runners and take the pressure off the guys out wide throwing the ball.
3rd down and 6. Good protection here. And Dalton, with lots of running room, will get a first down, sliding to the 31.
Look, this is a good play for Andy Dalton, Chris.
Yeah.
All right. But the problem is there's no one getting open downfield. It's a 3rd and 6, so Dalton had to hot-foot it and got it, which is excellent. Great for Cincinnati. But all in all, who's going to create the separation so he can throw the ball?
It's a nice call by the Ryan brothers. First they had man on the weak side. They zoned the strong side. They took the man side away, forcing Dalton to tuck and run and use his fine athletic ability to keep the chains moving.
It's a nice trio they have over there. The Ryans and Dennis Thurman, who's officially the defensive coordinator of this team. First down, Dalton to throw it, and looking wide open, and there's a big fella who takes a huge hit. But Tyler Eifert, I don't know how in the world a human being can hold on to a football after taking a shot like he just did from Gilmore.
Well, first thing he has to do is get off the ball. Duke Williams has to run through the wheel route. Anytime your flat defender goes to the flat and turns upfield, the most outside defender in zone, Jamar Inhedebo, who's new to the team, he has to run through that wheel route. Did not. Thank you for the correction, Charles.
Well, he took Duke's number.
Yeah, there you go.
But we were talking about who's going to create separation downfield. Tyler Eifert, one of the best tight ends in the game, did exactly that.
But that's a mental error on Inhedebo, though. Yes. You got to run with that wheel route.
Jeremy Hill inside the 10 on a first down carry. It'll bring up 2nd down for the Bengals. That's the first catch today for Eifert, who left and looked a little groggy when he left. He was starting to come back in right now, and they grabbed his jersey and pulled him back.
It was a heck of a pop by Gilmore at the end of the play. You noted it, Tom. Terrific catch to be able to hold on after that type of an impact. And it was a really nice play for Cincinnati. Now this is where the going has been tough for them all year long. How do they create that separation, space, and find a way to get the ball into the end zone?
Doozable.
You just wanted to say Doozable. Well, you've been waiting all day to say that.
Been practicing all weekend.
Encroachment. Defense number 91. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Now run it all together for us. Full name.
Leger Doozable.
Well done.
They like to use a lot of guys up front, like a lot of teams. Anytime you can get a number for those men right there, shuffling in signals, anytime you can get a rotation for defensive linemen, especially in this type of defense, it helps.
Look at Buffalo, 7 penalties already on the day. And a couple of those early in the game helped Cincinnati keep a drive alive that paid off in a touchdown.
Well, you had it 2nd and 8 to the Bills. Now you're 2nd and 3. And they give it to Hill. I tell you what, there are very few backs in the league that you get down inside the 10, the 5-yard line that you'd rather have on your team than Hill.
And look at all
33 games, 29 rushing touchdowns.
They had 8 on the offensive line. Did the Cincinnati Bengals up there. I mean, that's in college football, what they call it the barge formation. All these people up front. And look at that, enough space for Hill to hurdle through and nearly get to the end zone. Let's see if they come right at him again with the lead fullback.
Only DeMarco Murray has more rushing touchdowns in the NFL than Hill. And what do? Naturally, they throw it, and it's incomplete.
Well, Preston Brown is back after an earlier injury. And watch Eifert, 85. Going to fake the block and then try and slip, but a really nice job by number 52, Preston Brown. That's called playing your responsibilities and keys. Because normally they're counting on the play fake to fool him and take his eyes into the backfield. He took his eyes to his responsibility, which was man coverage on the tight end, and he knocked it away.
12th play of this drive for the Bengals. 2nd and goal from the 1. And Hill is stuffed at the line of scrimmage by Darius.
You know, we do underrated players. You and I talk about every week. Watch 95. Penetration kills goal line plays. Low man wins. Watch the get off and look at the penetration right there. Forcing Hill to trip him up a little bit so he does not have that head of steam. Then the big fellow, Darius, you're not going to run over 350 pounds, Tom. I don't care how bad you are.
Did Marcel Darius pretty much inhale Jeremy Hill?
But the Kyle Williams thing, I mean, I watch this guy on film. Like, you know, I played with a lot of great players, and the guy in Buffalo that I played with, it was maybe one of the most underrated players I played with, a guy named Phil Hansen. I don't know if you guys remember Phil.
Of course, Big Phil.
Phil was excellent. And so when you look at these guys, you kind of think to yourself, you take them for granted. And you're watching the film and you're saying to yourself, all this dude does is he make plays. And he's never out of position. You know what we call that? That's reliable and accountable. That's why they love him. You talk to the Ryan brothers, they love him, right?
And not only that, we talked about this a little bit before the game, guys. Kyle Williams, when he steps off the bus, he's not making the all bus team. Right? He's not coming out and intimidating you with all that, but he makes play after play after play. And the young guys in Buffalo are following the heck out of him. All right, all the young guys who are playing defense, Jarrell Worthy, right? You hear him talk about him. Adolphus Washington, Leger Douzable is not a young guy, but they're all trying to follow the example of Kyle Williams and how he prepares and plays. An absolute pro.
And that was a great play on that goal line. I mean, I get excited for that stuff, but nobody else does, but I do, because it was just tremendous.
All right, so now you're on the 13th
I'm
play of the
excited.
drive. You try to throw it on 1st down and goal from the 1. And now the plane blown dead and a timeout by the Bills. They didn't like what they saw from the Bengals.
Well, the one thing you know that you have to be aware of, at least the trending in this game, is Andy Dalton running the football. So we talk about Tyrod Taylor. You need a spy for him, because Andy Dalton will just as soon take a throwing lane and turn it into a running lane in a heartbeat.
What we've seen from Andy running the ball, we've seen him scramble out of the pocket on pass plays and great 1st downs. We saw him on the zone read, score a touchdown. And we also saw one where it was really quarterback power. Remember when it brought Eifert from the left side to the right side to be the lead blocker? Didn't get much out of it, but it's a varied quarterback run game.
Guys, I don't think we can say it enough how important this game is. Plays like this play right now that's about to happen. This is 3rd down and goal. I mean, look, when you're 3-5-1 and the rest of your division is struggling and you need a win, this is a play you got to make.
Buffalo feels exactly the same way.
I think they got 2 downs to get 1 yard.
They're going to throw it. What a throw, and that is the 1st career touchdown for the rookie Tyler Boyd. And he turned around and handed off the football.
Now watch the route. Watch here. Comes inside to hold him, and then Boyd to the outside. See how he brought Stephon Gilmore's eyes inside, and then Gilmore trying to get back. See that? See him wheeling now? Because James Wright ran that little short route inside that drew him just enough to allow Boyd to get to the corner.
Read the corner, throw the corner. Gilmore's eyes were inside. Dalton threw that before Boyd got out of his break. Laid it in there perfectly.
If he doesn't come inside, he just throws it inside there to number 86, James Wright.
Well, he got the football back from the official. Must have realized, hey, I might want to keep that. Point after now by Nugent. Unbelievable. Nugent has missed both extra point attempts off the right upright.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Citizen Echo Drive watches, powered by Light.
Welcome back to Cincinnati. Bengals have the lead for the first time in a game. Thanksgiving weekend right upon us. A pair of Pac-12 showdowns on Fox. Friday, number 6 Washington, number 22 Washington State in the Apple Cup. And then Saturday, 12th ranked Utah against number 10 Colorado. It's all on Fox. Or watch it live on Fox Sports Go.
Well, that's a big weekend, guys. Colorado's had a monster year. And if they beat Utah, wow, Pac-12 South champs. If Utah beats Colorado, USC jumps into the Pac-12 South, I believe, and wins that one. What a year it's been. It's been topsy-turvy. We thought USC was done, and boy, what a comeback they've made.
But of course, right here in the heartland of America, next Saturday, they're only talking about one game. Isn't that right, Spielman?
Is there a game next week?
Still so impressive, fellas, on that opening drive. They storm right down the field. They score a touchdown. They have done next to nothing since, and they haven't been on the field a lot.
Yeah, how about the answer from Paul Gunther, the coordinator, putting the defense in position to make plays?
And you know what helped? Getting that guy right back into the middle of the defense, and Vontez perfect.
So on first down, Taylor complete a gain of 5 on first down. We talked about Nugent missing the point after in London, a game that wound up being a tie. He had never missed a point after since the rule was changed 2 years ago. Had never missed one here in Cincinnati, and now 0 for 2 today.
In a tight game like this, and we can feel it. I think it's going to be a 4-quarter game. Every yard, every missed opportunity as far as turnovers, and every extra point counts.
Right now, you should have a 4-point lead, and look at McCoy.
What was that you said at the top of the show, Chris Spielman, about LaShawn McCoy?
I've never seen anybody close to Barry Sanders and LaShawn McCoy making people miss in tight spaces. This is unbelievable to me. I mean, these are world-class athletes, and that little jump cut and vision and instincts, he's the best.
That's Drake Kirkpatrick, I believe, out on the corner, who thought he had him in his sights. And he makes another little dip and jump cut and creates nice yardage.
The Bills' first down since their first drive of the game. And batted down. Well, Michael Johnson has come alive here today.
No! Right there.
They're wondering, was that a lateral?
I think they ruled it I think they ruled that incomplete.
And it should be. It was a forward pass.
We have reached a 2-minute warning. It's an incompleted pass. 2nd down and 10.
And I like the idea. At least we get the mindset of Anthony Lynn right here of what to do to come out. A quick pass to get Tyrod in the rhythm. And also, hey, we got 25. Let's get the ball in his hands because he can do some damage.
A nice play by Johnson there. They didn't get his hands down at all on that pass rush, and he affected the play, obviously.
And they tacked on 5 seconds to the game clock. So one more play before the 2-minute warning. And Taylor has to just get rid of it. It looked like it was short-hopped. Or did they say caught it? That is a catch by Brandon Tate, the former Bengal, right at midfield. So 1:58 to go here in Cincinnati. Bills on the move after that 14-yard gain. We invite you to follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. Ball right at the 50. Taylor out of the shotgun. Puts it in the hands of McCoy. Another dazzling move to pick up another yard or two. And again, he does it to Dre Kirkpatrick. And another injured player. That players on both sides go down.
Sean Williams, the safety, who had been a backup until this season. Reggie Nelson leaves in free agency, goes to Oakland. Sean Williams jumps up to play next to George Iloka in the secondary.
Williams out of the game. Deron Smith in for him. But LaShawn McCoy had to leave the game. It looked like he may have injured his hand. That is a first down catch made by Reggie Bush. He was gripping the left hand or the left wrist as he went straight to the locker room.
This here's we'll see where McCoy and Williams both got a little shaken up. Sometimes you fall funny on that hand. That turf doesn't give as much as you'd like.
Taylor rolling to his left, still looking, and now he'll run it out of bounds inside the 35. 1:20 to go. Each team with a pair of timeouts. Let's check in back in LA with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. Baltimore at Dallas. Cowboys down 7-0. Dak Prescott rolls out and finds Cole Beasley for that 3-yard touchdown. Now, he was knocked out of bounds on this play. He was looked at on the sideline. Appears to be fine. All tied up in Dallas. Tom?
All right, Carissa.
Going lucky.
So 7-7 there. 12-10 here. Bengals in front. And that's Carlos Dunlap.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 96. Unimpeded to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And the Bills had talked about rotating their offensive tackles. Jordan Mills, number 79, got the start again, but he'd been challenged in practice. Chantrell Henderson, a former starter, is now getting an opportunity to play, whereas number 66 in at right tackle now.
Yeah, he was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. That's an inflammation of the digestive tract a year ago, and that's when he lost his starting job. First down. And this is Mike Gillislee. Well, what a nice pickup this guy's turned out to be. And some of it's the subtle moves sometimes. You know, originally drafted by the Dolphins in the 5th round out of Florida, played as a rookie, missed his entire next year hurt. The Bills bring him in off the Arizona practice squad, plays in 5 games, runs for over 300 yards, and now he's an important part of this offense.
Speed guy.
Taylor forcing it into the end zone. Is that a pick? Oh my goodness, Dre Kirkpatrick with a huge play for the Cincinnati defense. Oh, we saw Andy Dalton make a bad decision earlier in the quarter. This one just as bad.
It's a bad decision, but I'm going to sound a little bit of a Tyrod Taylor fan right here. Goodwin doesn't fight or compete for the football. Great receivers in that situation, they come and attack the ball. Goodwin is waiting for the ball to come to him as opposed to coming through the defensive back or around the defensive back to attack.
And look at Kirkpatrick, though, getting both feet down, inbounds on the catch to complete the interception. And he, like a receiver, completed the process of the catch. Excellent point on your part, Chris. Not fighting, competing for the ball. But Tyrod Taylor on that play, how could he not see Dre Kirkpatrick draped on him in that coverage? He had a wide open lane, seeing the field, seeing it downfield, and threw the ball anyway. That's a critical mistake by the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills.
On both guys.
Well, all you need right there is a field goal, and you have the lead. Penalty flag down the play. And Jeremy Hill with a big run, but this might come back, and then a flag comes down at the end of the play.
You know, this play could have went a lot longer if Brandon LaFell would do his job and block downfield. I'm not trying to be negative here, but I'm trying to point out that everything counts. Every play counts, and it matters.
Offside, defense number 92. That penalty's declined. Personal foul and necessary roughness, defense.
Number
26. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Boy, now you all of a sudden go after the penalty in a big run. You go for a chance now to get into field goal range.
And it could have been longer, Tom, and I'm telling you, and this is all about finishing every down right here. And LaFell came off the ball late.
But there was Blanton, 32, on the late hit there. I know both these teams are competing because this is kind of a do-or-die game. But both are making major mistakes that they don't need to.
There's Brandon LaFell, and he steps out of bounds close to midfield at the 48. And another Bengals first down.
Just going back to the play on LaFell, making up for not blocking downfield, runs a nice little shake route to get open, and Andy Dalton delivered a pass on time and on target.
I think he heard you about the non-blocking. He knew he needed to get downfield and make a play.
Chance for a big play.
Four-man rush. Dalton goes to Eifert, and he has, well, depends on the spot of the ball. It might be enough for another first down, but the clock continues to run. And the Bengals are not spending a timeout here.
Surprised they haven't already clocked it.
18 seconds left. Dalton has it batted down. 13 ticks remain. Boy, they let a lot of time burn right there after the end of the catch. And they have 2 timeouts left.
It was either a timeout or...
One left, I beg your pardon.
Right, it's either a timeout or clock it. And I thought they would come up and try and clock it there since it was 1st and 10 and then try and conserve some time.
Well, I know this sounds crazy, but in Buffalo, you play your prevent and you almost give up the field goal because you want nothing over the top. See how deep those safeties are?
They're back here.
Dalton has it batted into the air off the hand and then intercepted by Gilmore. So both of these teams giving the football away with a chance to get into field goal range, if not already being in field goal range on their final possession of the half.
And this is Eifert running his route. Now watch the ball placement. Back behind him, he tries to get a hand on it to haul it in. Instead, he tips it up in the air. And there's the second interception of the game there for Gilmore. See that? I know it's going to go. People will say, hey, Eifert, well, got a hand on it, but you should haul it in. That's way behind him. He tried to put a paw on it and tip it to himself and bring it back in. Instead, it goes into the air to the Bills. And now, it's been a topsy-turvy last minute and a half here before the half. Both of them had opportunities, and neither one of them cashed in.
I think Dalton tried to throw that a little behind, not that much behind, because Gilmore was closing in, so he's trying to protect his guy.
Trying to stop him from going into that coverage.
Stop him.
Well, that'll be the final play of the opening half. Visa halftime is coming up. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, Jimmy, and company standing by. Buffalo will get the ball to begin the second half. The guys in Los Angeles standing by after this timeout. The Visa halftime right around the corner. Today's excitement is brought to you by the new Nissan. Give it to McCoy, bounces to the outside, and he will waltz untouched into the end zone.
Time to show off on Fox.
Dalton going to run it, and it is a touchdown. And that was today's excitement, brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. We are back in Cincinnati, big second half coming up. And, you know, fellas, there might be some sloppiness to this game so far. Certainly some ill-timed turnovers here at the end of the half. But the bottom line is you can't stress the importance of this game for each of these two teams.
And because of that, this is where we're talking about critical plays, critical errors in a game. And we always talk about at the end of games, 4 or 5 plays maybe. In this type of a game where it's do or die for both of these teams, every play takes on that aspect. Both teams have to be careful.
So you can recover from first half mistakes, right? The 2 missed opportunities for turnovers by the Bengals, the 2 extra points clanking off the right field goal post. Now it's start all over, and let's play clean this half. And whoever plays the cleanest this half will win the football game. They have an opportunity to make plays, make them.
A.J. Green left on the opening series of the game with a hamstring injury. We're going to check in with Holly Saunders here momentarily. And Mike Nugent misses twice on those point-after touchdowns, and right now it's a 2-point lead instead of 4. Excellent return by Brandon Tate up to the 35-yard line. And speaking of Holly, here is Holly Saunders.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. You mentioned A.J. Green. Well, Marvin Lewis told me on the way into the locker room that he's very, very proud of his team's response to A.J. Green going out early, specifically Tyler Boyd. He's very pleased with the first half, but of course he brought up those missed extra points. And he did say, though, that he has confidence, all the confidence in the world still in Mike Nugent. Also, Rex Ryan, he said, hey, we need to play smarter. You talked about the inopportune turnovers. That's what he mentioned as well. He said we got to clean it up, and he also is hopeful LaShawn McCoy will come back into the game. He's questionable with a hand injury, guys.
Yeah, he is not in the game to begin the second half. That is Gillislee who takes the initial handoff, run out of bounds after a gain of, depending on the spot, it looks like a gain of 4.
See the injuries right with LaShawn McCoy, and for defense, that changes your game plan a little bit. Gillislee is very productive. Bush is very productive. But they're not that guy. And so that allows you to call your defenses accordingly to defend that guy. And that guy's not there.
Ricky 56. Hey, Delta.
Well, the game is spotted at the 37-yard line. It's a gain of 5, and Taylor threads a needle and appears to be about a yard short on the completion to Charles Clay. 3rd down and 1 coming up.
Here comes
First drive was very good for Buffalo. After that, next to nothing, and then they had a pick at the goal line just prior to halftime.
Watch 42, Jerome Felton. He's pretty good money. Put your money on him, 42, when he's in the backfield. Follow him. He'll usually take you to the point of attack.
And he does, and runs right through a would-be tackle from Vincent Ray, and they'll move the chains.
And sometimes he is the point of attack.
Well, he's a good player. I mean, he's been doing this a long time, and this is a brutal position to play. Fullback in the National Football League. And Vincent Ray does a good job of bringing his feet on contact. That's just a big man. He won the big man battle there.
Felton was a Pro Bowl fullback with Minnesota in 2012.
Bills actually cut him this year, and they brought him back after 1 game. Cutting it back to the inside is Gillislee, and good strong running. That'll get a gain of 13 yards to the Bengal 44 by Gillislee.
Patience. Gillislee knows he has the speed, and what separates really good backs from average backs is this right here. This right there, the burst. If you have that burst in that second gear, you can get extra yards, and plus he's not a big guy, so it's hard to find him inside all those bodies once in a while.
Jonathan Williams, a rookie out of Arkansas, checks in to give Gillislee a breather.
55. Go.
Taylor, great protection, dumps it off to the aforementioned Williams, and maybe a gain of a yard.
You know, Charles and Tom, one thing I'm looking for Tyrod Taylor this second half, you throw that late interception, is he going to be hesitant to squeeze one in there, to make the tough throw, to throw a guy open? And that's, I think, been a little bit of his issue today. I don't know if he's worried about throwing interceptions because he's holding the ball a little bit, and he's been late on a couple throws.
Well, the key is going to be who does he trust to throw it to downfield with his top receivers out, Sammy Watkins and Robert Woods.
On the ground.
Nice.
To Williams, and he is stood up right at the line of scrimmage. Domata Pecco, Carlos Dansby in on the tackle.
I love this stuff because when I see a running back just completely stop running full speed, watch Dansby. Eyes up, head up, wrap up, bring your feet, run through your target, not to your target, come with bad intentions. That's beautiful.
Look at how he took the angle away so there was no cutback, didn't overrun the play. That's a big-time veteran play by Carlos Dansby.
It's his 131st career start today. He's been a really good player for a long time. 3rd down. Taylor dancing around, still looking. And now we'll tuck it underneath, and he is denied a first down. All right, fellas, you're at the 36-yard line here. Do you think about going for it on 4th down and 2?
I think you definitely think about bringing him in and thinking about drawing him off sides, if nothing else. That's kind of in no man's land here. This is after punting or field goal.
Perfect example of Tampa 2 when you have Burfict run down. He becomes a deep middle safety. That allows your corners to spread to the outside receivers, forcing Tyrod Taylor to run.
Be a 54-yard field goal attempt. This guy has plenty of leg. career long of 60, but not hit from 50 this year. And this one is drilled right through the uprights. First field goal from beyond 50 this season by Carpenter. How big are those 2 extra points looking right now?
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By the $10 any carry-out deal from Pizza Hut, only at Pizza Hut. And by Chevrolet. More 2016 J.D. Power Dependability Awards than any other brand.
That's Division II Ohio Power LaSalle, the Lancers. On to the state's Final Four. They are back-to-back state champions, winning over the weekend. Thanks to Jeremy Roush and Joe Daneman at Fox 19 for that footage. Bills lead by 1. And here's a return up to the 32-yard line by Rex Burkhead. From across the river in northern Kentucky. A look into Cincinnati. 10:20 to go in the third. A couple of touchdowns, a couple of interceptions ending drives for the Bengals after their initial 3 and out when A.J. Green left the game. And Green has not returned for those of you just joining us. After the field goal, the Bills lead by 1. And this is Jeremy Hill. And that'll be a gain of 3 on first down. Coming your way in January, She's Inappropriate. And she is in charge of TV's most outrageous new comedy coming to Fox. Caitlin Olsen is their guardian, but she's no angel. The Mick prepares this January only on Fox.
And here we go with another one of those exotic formations by the Bengals.
And they hand it off in a big run for Jeremy Hill. Leapfrogs his way into Buffalo territory. The ball came loose, but the ground caused a fumble. That's a 20-yard run by Jeremy Hill.
Usually when we see this, you think pass, but what they did was they ran the ball inside, and really it became like schoolyard football. You know when you don't have enough people and you play 3-on-3, 4-on-4?
That's what it was.
That's what it became, and the offensive line, the guys who were inside handled it, and Jeremy Hill got a big gain on it.
Same formation again. This time they put it on the ground to Bernard. He's able to pick it up. Hey, by the way, before that last play, Tyler Eifert came limping to the Bengals sideline. There have been a lot of players either nicked up or perhaps seriously hurt in this game today.
And key players, obviously with A.J. Green and Eifert, they're obviously the 2 biggest targets and best targets for Andy Dalton.
Standard handoff this time to Bernard. Spun out of 1 tackle, but nowhere to go. It brings up 3rd down and 10.
And so if Eifert is out, is not able to come back in, again, we're bringing our safeties up closer. Now they're not worried about handling a difficult tight end matchup with Eifert, allowing them to focus more on the run game, which Cincinnati seems to be committed to doing, at least on 1st and 2nd down.
The only knock on Eifert, he is an outstanding talent, but he has been nicked up a lot. He got hurt in the Pro Bowl, you may remember last year, requiring ankle surgery. And Dalton steps into this one, and it should have been intercepted for the 3rd time today with an eye on Tyler Boyd.
And here's the problem for Andy Dalton. These guys back here don't believe that the guys in black can run past them. So they are able to play a little more of that underneath cover. Look at that. And just fell right into the coverage. Really good job getting his eyes back towards the quarterback. That was Kevon Seymour, who they moved into the nickel spot instead of Nickel Roby-Coleman because of his size and his length. And they think he can make more plays on the football.
So the Bengals punt. And now the Cincinnati native Kevin Huber dropping this one and downed inside the 5-yard line. Was that touched by a Bill? Shouldn't know if it checked up originally or was touched by a Bengal player. Apparently was touched by a Bengal first.
Correct.
That's actually a smart play. Once they touch, because you can catch a punch cover team sleeping. That's a very smart play on any returner.
Yes, because you're not going to lose the ball no matter what at that point. Already been touched by the Bengals, touched again by the Bengals. Now you can make a play on the ball if you're the Bills.
The ball was first touched
Thank you.
by the kicking team, so the ball belongs to the receiving team. During the play, personal foul and necessary roughness, number 27 of the receiving team went out of bounds and blocked. Half the distance to the goal, 1st down, timeout.
That's James Ahedebo, just picked up this week.
This game is sponsored by Verizon. Join the Better Network because better matters.
Well, after the penalty, this ball will be backed up inside the 2-yard line on first down for Buffalo.
So instead of offenses dictating to defenses what to do, if I'm Cincinnati's defense, I blitz, I trust myself one-on-one, and I try to make a play to help a struggling offense. Right now, play to win this game. Send 10 if you have to, Tom.
I'm telling my defensive front, swing moves, anything to try and knife into the backfield to try and make a big play right here.
The receiving team will take the ball at the first touch spot. 1st and 10 at the 1-yard line.
All right, so the ball will be spotted at the 1-yard line. That's where the ball was initially touched by the Bengal Josh Shaw. All right, so no LaShawn McCoy. It's still Gillislee in the backfield.
56.
And Taylor's out of the shotgun.
56.
And here they come. And Gillislee slips it to the outside. That is a nice run, an important run, and a gain of 11 yards on first down.
This is on Vincent Ray because Charles Clay does a tremendous job. Vincent Ray right here is in position to knife through to make the play. But excuse me, yeah, watch Charles Clay come in and seal just enough to allow Gillislee, the speedster, to get that edge. Man, you got to be blitzing on that, though. Gosh darn it, you got to blitz that.
So empty backfield, no LaShawn McCoy. He left the final minute and a half of the opening half with a thumb injury and has not come back out onto the field, batted into the air and incompleted. We check in back in LA with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. Arizona and Minnesota opening kickoff of the second half. Cordero Patterson with his 104-yard return. Minnesota now has an offensive, defensive, and special teams touchdown today. They're up 27-17. Tom?
Wow. All right, Carissa, thank you very much. Here's another team, Arizona, like the Bengals. Huge expectations before the season began, and things have just not gone well.
Been a struggle for them all season long. Go back to the season opener against New England. A field goal away, and it's felt like that for a lot of the year.
Inside pitch to Gillislee. That's a forward pass, or is that the tight end, Clay?
Clay.
It is Clay, and that's a gain of 2, so a third down coming up.
You know, I was just getting ready to ask the question, where's Geno Atkins? And he runs onto the field here on third down. Because I think him providing push inside is a big deal, especially against the inexperienced center, Ryan Groy, who's had to step in for Eric Wood. And actually, Groy's done a pretty decent job today because we haven't mentioned it much.
Atkins is the dominant pillar of the interior of this Cincinnati defense, 4-time Pro Bowler. On a third down and 6, they're coming after Taylor. And he lofts it deep, and he overshoots the intended target, Clay. Play to be made right there.
You nailed it, partner, because this should have been a huge play, because watch the block by Gillislee, number 35, right there. That block on Michael Johnson, so that allowed things open for Tyrod Taylor. So once you get a block like that, you've got to hit this opportunity to Charles Clay, who ran a nice route over the top of George Ialoka, and they missed their shot.
And the Bengals are looking for a big-time return. They drop Adam Jones into coverage. He dropped it, picked it up, and still on his feet. Brings it inside the 45-yard line to the 44. Pecco and the Bengal defense make a stop. Can the offense put him back in front, trailing by 1? Tyler Alford has come back into the game for Cincinnati. Has 2 receptions for 31 yards. Playing in just his 3rd game. First 2 games, 13 catches for over 200 yards.
Here we go with another one of their formations where they will spread things out. Now, is there anyone back there that becomes the primary guy? Where they're going to shift back to more conventional formation.
It's the best starting field position of the game for the Bengals from the Buffalo 44, Jeremy Hill. Gain of 5 on first down.
And just to build on that, Tom, again, we've talked all game about who's going to take advantage of the opportunities, right? This is a great opportunity for their offense. They're going to go a little bit tempo, but it was assisted by the defense, who was aggressive on that last series.
Dropped in the backfield for a huge loss is Hill, and there is Kyle Williams.
Football player. His name's not Kyle Williams anymore. It's football player. Because he's straight football player. I love the guy. See the quick little swim and the adjustment. Eyes to the backfield. So many times young defensive linemen, they get their eyes locked on a block. You feel the block, see the ball. That's beautiful. Well done, Kyle.
See why they missed him last year when he missed 10 games with an injury. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler.
Bengals 6 of 9, but 0 for 1 here in the second half on 3rd down. This is 3rd and 10. And LaFell incomplete. Perfect timing on the coverage by Corey Graham, the 10-year strong safety.
This is what they need more of. They need more of these types of plays. Graham's back here, number 20. Reads it, drives on the football, and right there, and you nailed it, Tom. Perfect timing, making a pass breakup as they try to complete it downfield to LaFell.
Just going back to the point, and to me, an underrated characteristic of receiver, attack the football. Don't wait on it.
The Bengals go 3 and out. Fair catch at the 10 after they started that drive at the 44. (13-12), more than halfway through this 3rd quarter at Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. Critical injuries to both teams so far here today. Just received an update. LaShawn McCoy will not return for Buffalo. He left in the final couple of minutes of the opening half with an injured thumb. So Gillislee, the ball carrier, in his absence. And of course, you go back to the first possession of the game. This play, A.J. Green left with a hamstring injury. In fact, he had to leave on a cart.
See Robert Woods getting bent over. Yoga helped him walk off the field. Hope he's okay. And right there's this thumb injury to LaShawn McCoy. Wait.
Those are huge names for each of these two teams.
55! Weak! Go!
2nd down and 6. And Taylor will keep this one himself. And he's 3 yards short of a first down, and we send it back to L.A. Our good friend, Miss Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. We're heading to Dallas. Dallas, of course, looking for their 9th straight win. Dak Prescott to Dez Bryant. Prescott's 2nd passing touchdown today. The Cowboys are up 17-10. Tom?
And that's a huge game for these Bengals. I mean, they have to take care of their own business, but we mentioned they've not played Baltimore yet. Bengals win today, and the Ravens should lose. The Bengals would go to Baltimore next weekend with a chance to go into first place in the AFC North. But right now they're on the short end of a 1-point game, and Taylor on a 3rd down in trouble. Flushed out of the pocket. He beats Atkins around the corner and picks up a first down. What a play made by Taylor.
So what he lacks in accuracy sometimes, Charles, this is the equalizer.
Mobility. Let's look at him. Look at him dance out there. But here's the thing, though. Geno Atkins, number 97, that last little bit. Watch Clay, 85. All right, open, but watch him. He stays in the sight line, but because of Atkins' pursuit, Tyrod Taylor can't unload the ball and get it to Clay to try and get it downfield.
Mike 50, Mike 55.
Gillislee breaks it to the outside, turns a corner. Well, he's had some nice runs today. That's a gain of 14 on first down by Gillislee, who came in averaging 6 yards a carry. He's averaging almost 8 today.
And watch how close this was. Go ahead, Chris.
I just think you know what he has that LaShawn McCoy doesn't have. He has that straightaway world-class speed. LaShawn's got the shake. This guy's got the straight ahead and that burst.
And look how close that was to being a loss of yardage. Pat Sims, number 92, unable to corral him. And then, as you noted, Chris, Gillislee turns on a little bit of the Jets and takes off and turns into a really nice gain for Buffalo.
2 Bengals are being helped off the field now. Burfict 55 after Dre Kirkpatrick limped off.
I hope Vontez is all right, because your team needs you if you're helped off. You get a breather and all that, but come on in.
Kirkpatrick as well going out, which probably means Darquez Denard, number 21, would have to come into the game. And they've wanted to give him more opportunities. He's just had trouble when he's had the chance staying healthy.
He's had a confidence problem. So if I'm the Bills, I know that.
First thing you're doing, if you can, is attacking. The problem is, who do the Bills have to attack him? That's the tough part.
Well, the Bengals are already missing starting free a strong safety, Sean Williams. He left the game injured, you may remember. So they're way down that depth chart right now. But the Bills are starting to go to their bread and butter, and that's running the football. This time, Jonathan Williams across the 40 to the 43, gain of 7.
False start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty, second down.
You know, Tom, I want to go back to something that our partner made earlier in the game about Percy Harvin, because we're not talking about him very much. And, you know, here's his first go, full time. But he talked about he hasn't been in the playbook for that much. And there were a couple times he looked kind of lost out there, didn't know what he really needed to do. You notice they're still not able to force feed him the ball in a situation where you got guys down, guys hurt. This would be a great time for Percy Harvin to be a part of their offense.
Perfect hand. Kirkpatrick both back into the game. And Taylor able to get rid of it. And the catch for a big gain is Brandon Tate. And he's all the way down to the Cincinnati 29-yard line.
So Tyrod Taylor a couple years ago, you know what he's doing? He's tucking and running. Watch the patience of number 5 right here. Brandon Tate's going to work on perfect off a little stop and go route. But it starts with a couple things. First, pretty decent protection, steps up into the pocket. Normally he's going to take that lane and run it, but he saw Brandon Tate clear the linebacker and get the ball into your athlete's hands in space and let them do work, in which Brandon does.
Their new offense coordinator, Anthony Lynn, tells him all the time, remain a quarterback, even when you're breaking contain.
Of course, Lynn did not become the offensive coordinator until week 3. But ever since then, this offense has been piling up points. They're averaging 28 points per game, 5th best in the NFL since the change. They've scored 25 or more in 5 straight games for the first time since 2004. Eighth play of this drive, the longtime Bengal and his 11th year Pecco trying to get this crowd excited. It's been a very quiet crowd. Bengals only playing their second home game, if you can believe this, in the last 52 days. Their last home game was a week before Halloween. Well, they are the most outspoken duo in all of sports talk, and they're on FS1.
Chris and Charles?
Tomorrow, we debate all of today's NFL action.
And I'll tell you why the Cowboys won't make the Super Bowl.
And you'll be wrong again. Undisputed, America's fastest growing sports show, 9:30 Eastern, FS1.
I'll be tuned into that, TB.
Well, right now, the two teams in the NFC, they referred to the Cowboys there a moment ago. Seattle is saying, hang on a minute now, we're still in this mix too.
And Russell Wilson's getting healthier.
Yep. But how about how he's adjusted his game to play in the pocket during the time his legs weren't operating quite as well? No one's throwing it better than him right now downfield.
Without a running game.
Drive started from their own 10-yard line. 8th play spanning 63 yards, and Taylor nearly had it stripped away, but he's still on his feet. Little hesitation move, and what could have been an 8 or 10-yard loss gets him close to the line of scrimmage. Maybe even a 2-yard gain. Yep.
Chris, I think he channeled his inner LaShawn McCoy here, because he made people miss. Watch Pecco, number 94 in black. He's got his sights on it. Slips him. Keeps his eyes downfield, keeps the play alive, and then gets outside of Dunlap to make extra yardage on a play that either should have been a sack or a lost yardage play.
And I can't tell you how frustrating that is as a defense if you're in coverage, and that's why discipline has to be maintained in pass rush lanes.
That's the way the third quarter is going to come to an end. This is a very important third down when we come back. 3rd and 6. 1 quarter to go from Paul Brown Stadium. Only 3 points combined by the two teams in the third quarter. The Bills have been a very good second-half football team this year. This is 3rd and 6.
You got to blitz him to take away the run of Tyrod Taylor on 3rd down. Play man and blitz and trust your guys to win. They don't.
Here they drop back and no pressure. And I think he's short of the first down. That's a big-time hit by Darquez Denard, former #1 pick out of Michigan State, on Percy Harvin. And are they going for it? It looks like they might be.
And if you're in a defensive huddle, the first thing you say to your guys, alert, hard count.
Yeah.
Hard count. #1 thing you say, they line up and play.
That was a big-time tackle by Denard.
I don't know about you guys. I'm stunned by this move. You get a chance to go up by 4. They go for it, and they get it. So it pays off for Rex Ryan. First down at the 15-yard line.
Thinking your way is logical. They have a lot of confidence because they've been able to run the football, and that defense has been on the field chasing Tyrod Taylor. So they're guessing that they're tired, and we're going to win that battle up front.
Well, you saw how they won the battle, starting with Ryan Groy, number 72, Richie Incognito, 64, Cordy Glenn, 77. The left side really caved things in and created the space.
A minute and a half into this 4th quarter. 11th play of this drive for the Bills, and Taylor out of the shotgun. Throws inside the 5, caught right at the 5 by Goodwin. And if that's enough for a first down, it's very close. It'll be 1st and goal, Buffalo.
Watch him. Now, this is what I'm talking about. We've been talking about all game, right, Charles?
Coming back to the ball.
He's competing and running through the football.
Top of your screen, 88 in white, Goodwin, and this is what Chris has been mentioning. Being able to run your route, but make sure you close the space back towards your quarterback where the football's being thrown to keep the defender away from the ball.
And they went right after Denard, right?
What a drive put together by Taylor and the Bills. They get a touchdown here, and Cincinnati's in big-time trouble. That's Gillislee down to the 3-yard line.
How about the job Gillislee has done having to replace LaShawn McCoy? He got hurt right before the half, McCoy did. We weren't sure if he would come back. Holly Saunders got the information for us and told us that he would not be back the rest of this game. And Gillislee has handled the load since then and handled it quite well.
6.5 a pop. That's winning. You're going to win.
I say that works pretty well.
Yes, it does.
Well, now they'll split him to the top of your screen to the far right.
That quarterback run on this one. Got to be alert. Nope.
Taylor going to throw it. And it's through the hands. He threw a fastball right at play. The Bills do not have a tight end who has a touchdown this season. One of 3 teams in the NFL.
Well, they should have had one right there. He gets paid $35 million to make a catch like that. I don't get it. Fastball, you got to catch that ball. That's why they have jugs machines.
So what you're worried about here is throwing that type of a ball popped up in the air as we saw, and all of a sudden you've had a critical error in a spot where you got to at least get 3 out of it if you're Buffalo.
3rd down and goal.
Late.
And it's knocked down. Boy, he telegraphed that one from the very beginning, and Deron Smith knocks it down.
You know, I kind of talked through that play because my natural instinct, that ball was so late that he's lucky they're not dancing in the end zone singing Survivor, Eye of the Tiger right now.
Gillislee getting out into the flat.
So late. You see him hesitating, that double pump, Charles?
But as Tom noted, he came right out, turned right towards Gillislee, and said, this is where I'm going with the ball. And Dunlap did a nice job affecting the vision, but Deron Smith with a terrific break knocked it away. Since Buffalo fortunate to have a field goal opportunity.
Field goal is good from 20 yards out by Carpenter. The Cincinnati defense has played well when it's had to. They're keeping them in the game.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Ford. We go further so you can. And by Charles Schwab.
I'd like to remind you, Thanksgiving, celebrate with us on Fox. NFC East rivals collide, Redskins and the Cowboys. Coverage begins Thanksgiving Day, 4 o'clock Eastern, only on Fox. Fourth quarter has not been kind to the Bengals so far this year.
That's where the guy, that 14 right there, that's where you got to make your money. Ultimately, these quarterbacks are judged in the fourth quarter. Can you bring teams back? Can you win ball games in the fourth quarter?
Very short kick. And Burkhead up to the 28-yard line. 12 minutes to go. Andy Dalton has thrown a pair of interceptions today. 14 of 26, 129 yards. He does have a touchdown. That was a big one right there. Threw it behind Eifert. As the Bengals on their final drive of the opening half were moving into field goal range to try and take a lead.
They're only down 4, remember. 12 minutes to go. They don't have to fill the air with footballs, and all of a sudden everything has to be pushed downfield. Here comes another exotic formation. Is there anyone in the backfield that can affect the play? Is there anyone there that they can throw to? Who is that they go to? Now they're just showing you something, moving around. But they have an extra offensive lineman in, Eric Winston, number 73. This becomes a power set.
Giovanni Bernard for a yard. You may remember their last possession, they got the ball at the Buffalo 44-yard line. They ran it on first down. They got a 5-yard gain. But then you get a penalty. You get a loss on a yard on a run. And next thing you know, you're punting the ball back to Buffalo. That was 8 minutes ago before the Bills went on that extended drive.
So they're showing more stuff, but now they don't have extra offensive linemen in on the last play. TJ Johnson was in as well as Winston on their power set. Now it's totally conventional.
Bernard dropped it.
Once since AJ Green left the game, there's not been, I bet you there's maybe been one attempt over 15 yards. Just one. And that whole part of their game has been eliminated. And the Bills have adjusted accordingly, knowing that. And that's the difference with this Bengals offense.
Dalton has not completed a pass here in the second half. 0 for 3. And now 0 for 4. That had no chance from the very beginning, thrown into double coverage.
It's a beautiful job of what they call two-man. Two-man is this: when the corner plays underneath, trusting that number 20's got his back over the top. Darby's going to play underneath, see him jump underneath and play a trail technique. No 20's leaning his way. It's beautifully executed by the Buffalo Bills. They don't have a communication problem right now in their secondary.
Huber puts a left foot on it and drives this one back to the 17-yard line for Brandon Tate. And he takes a hit just short of the 30-yard line. 11 minutes to go. Bills in front by 4. Rex Ryan's team trying to end its losing streak here today and get back to 500 for Marvin Lewis and the Bengals. They've been in the playoffs 5 years in a row. The idea of a 6 very much hangs in the balance, perhaps on the final quarter of this game. And right now, their long snapper, Clark Harris, is going to be carted off. Boy, what a huge injury that could turn out to be. Here's Harvin. And a gain of 9, close to 10 on first down. Well, the third annual Art Murney Sportsmanship Award honors NFL players who exemplify outstanding sportsmanship on the field, and each team nominates one player for that award. They'll be announced at the NFL Honors Award Show on February 4th on Fox. It's the night before Super Bowl 51. Kyle Williams, a nominee of the Bills. A.J. Green for the Cincinnati Bengals. Go! First down, and there's the option by Taylor. And that is a gain of 12. And all of a sudden, this Buffalo running game is beginning to take this game over. And Taylor is hurt.
Now he's got to protect himself and not try to run through people. But we're sensing, and I'm sensing, a little fatigue by the black shirts right now. And I want to go back to a point right here. You're going to see the shot that he takes. You got to get down in protection. Hewitt was practicing long snapping because the long snapper goes in. And I counted 2 out of 3 went way over the punter's head. So that eliminates field goals and maybe eliminates punting the football. You have to get it together. You know what, Charles? You know what, Tom? Practice makes perfect. Keep practicing. As Vincent Ray coming off the field.
Chris, you just made the point about fatigue for Cincinnati. And Tom had made the point on the last possession when they held him to another field goal. What a great job Cincinnati's defense has done trying to tamp down some fires. But that wears on you, not just physically, but mentally. So they've had to do it all game long and had to do it throughout. So the offensive line now for Buffalo is starting to exert their own will on the defensive front of Cincinnati as a result.
Taylor will stay in the game. And that is caught by the tight end Clay. Saw E.J. Manuel, former #1 pick back in 2013, the backup quarterback, getting loose on the sideline.
You know what else is mentally taxing? Trying to defend the variety of run game that comes at you from Buffalo. You're getting the power sets, you're getting all the pullers and the trappers, you're getting the option game, triple option, right? You're getting quarterback zone read. It's a lot to digest in a week's time and a lot to put up with during the game.
Behind the line of scrimmage, they had Gillislee for a loss. Should have been about a 4 or 5 yard loss. Instead, it's a loss of a yard. The Bills have rushed for 160 yards in this game. 7th time this year they've gone for 130 or more. They are the 2nd best rushing team in the league. This is a huge 3rd down for this Cincinnati defense.
And it's not necessarily a throwing down with the way Buffalo runs their offense. Even though they've gone empty set here, they motion someone back, they could still run the ball.
That's an illegal formation there.
They weren't set.
And it was a drop.
They weren't set at all. So if you're Cincinnati now, you could have 4th down in your hip pocket.
The receiver at the top of the screen needed to get to the line of scrimmage.
Good offense, 2 men moving prior to the snap. Penalties decline, 4th down.
Point, if you're Rex Ryan, you got to just be kicking yourself here.
Well, that's mental errors. You know, they're playing with young guys too. Their top receivers are out. You get an opportunity to play. First things first, #1 rule, line up. That's it. It's not that hard. Line up.
So now the Bills will punt it, and the Bengals will get the ball back with roughly 8.5 to go. But where will they get it? Schmidt drops it inside the 10, and there will be down to the 9-yard line. Andy Dalton's won a pile of games the last 6 years, leading the Bengals to the playoffs in 5 straight years. He needs a big 4th quarter.
Today's game is sponsored by K Jewelers. For 100 years, every kiss begins with K.
Second straight week, the Bengal offense has been virtually non-existent. In the 4th quarter last week against the Giants, when all they needed was a field goal to win the game, the Bengals collected 37 yards. Jeremy Hill, with a penalty flag down, lost a yard.
This is well played by Zach Brown. Charles, and he's a sprinter in college.
60-yard champion indoors at the University of North Carolina, 6'7" Can you believe that? And a 6'7" linebacker out of North
Illegal
Carolina.
formation, offense. Half the distance to the goal. Correction, the penalties decline, 2nd down.
I ran that for the 50.
Let's check in with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. Tampa Bay at Kansas City. Now, the Chiefs have won 17 of their last 19 games. That might be in jeopardy today. Jameis Winston to Alan Frost. His first career touchdown. Tampa Bay's up 19-10 with just over 5 minutes left in the 4th. Tom?
It's a funny team, Tampa Bay. They win today. They're back to 500. That is Alex Erickson. And that is only his 2nd catch of this entire season. The market at the 14-yard line. The Bengals have 3rd down coming up and time beginning to get away from them.
And I think the Bengals have to be real careful about those throws on the perimeter with inexperienced receivers, with corners who don't think you can run past them. That was real close to Darby driving on that one.
3rd down, Dalton hit as he throws, and that ball's incomplete. They've done a pretty decent job protecting him today. But right there was Kyle Williams who applied the pressure from behind.
Yeah, everybody calls him Kyle Williams. That's football player right there. Kyle football player is what he is, man. It's just relentless effort.
He took Clint Bowling, number 65, right back to the quarterback. But Clark Harris is in snapping, Tom.
He's got an injured groin, we're told. But he's in there. And Huber punts this one in a fair catch at the 44-yard line. Harris can't even get off the field. Bills with a chance to tie a ribbon around this one. Bengal offense has been limited to 29 yards in this second half. And you can say, well, they're missing A.J. Green. That's true, but they missed him the entire first half, and they managed to score a couple of touchdowns. They pitch it on first down to Gillisley, cuts it back to the inside and gains a couple of yards on first down. The Bills have played this entire half without LaShawn McCoy.
So as a play caller in a huddle, and I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I get in there and I say, look, our offense is struggling. We're still in this game. Regardless of how it's gone, we can determine how it will go. Somebody step up and make a play and start going for the strip. We need to create something for offense to help them out.
Of course, the Bengals need a touchdown based on 2 point afters. Is that short of a first down? It'll bring up 3rd down and 5. So another big 3rd down coming up. But in the kicking game, Nugent, who missed a huge point after touchdown in London and what wound up being a tie game, has missed not once, but twice off the right upright. Otherwise, Cincinnati would need just a field goal to take a lead in this game. And look at that, 9 of them so far this week. That's all around the NFL.
Rookie 56.
Bills only 3 of 10 on 3rd down. 6 minutes to go. A 3rd down and 4. And Taylor thinking about running it, and he will not get there. That is Vontez Burfict, who for the second time in this game runs down Tyrod Taylor.
Well, and because he disregarded himself as a pass dropper, Burfict will be up here. Now watch him. He's that thing we hear all the time, right? He's the spy. He's not in coverage at all. His job is to mirror Tyrod Taylor. As soon as Tyrod got to the edge, Burfict ran him down by mirroring and spy technique.
Coming after this punt. And it's in the air off the foot of Colton Schmidt. And this is Erickson across the 15 and lunges forward to the 20. All right, fellas, well, you know, does the Bengal offense have anything in the tank whatsoever, fellas? We haven't seen anything here in the second half. I mean, look at these numbers. 23 of their 29 yards in their only first down of the half, their first possession.
And what Zampese was saying, hey, we've played horribly this second half. Guess what? Our destiny's in our control. We're down 4. We don't have to make 1,000 plays. We need to make one play. One big play. Who has it in them? Let's watch and see.
Run around and give it to Jeremy Hill, and that's a gain of 2.5.
Watch a beast in here, Charles. Let's talk about, you want to talk about a 3-4 defense, how good a nose is. You could not single block him, the Ryan brothers told us last night. You try to single block him, you got no shot. He's too big, he's too strong, and he's too athletic.
Well, they're going to try to run away from him this time, and Hill lowers his shoulder and is run out of bounds 2 yards shy of a first down. 5:03 to go.
And I think because of this down and distance, Buffalo is going to stay mainly base defense. Notice they didn't bring on that turbo package, Chris, where you just have Kyle Williams and a bunch of outside linebackers rushing the passer.
And Darius is still in there.
Staying in the game on 3rd and 2 in case Cincinnati wants to try and run it.
I'm not worried about it. Football player will make a play.
Bengals 0 for 4 on 3rd down here in this half.
Look a little confused.
And they have to call a timeout. That's their first of this second half. And you know, we said from the very beginning about the importance of this game, both of these teams feeling like they need to get on a big run here down the stretch to have any hopes for the playoffs. You know, the Bills have had chances here the last 2 drives to try and close this thing out. They've been unable to do it, but will their defense close it out for them now?
And that's what we're talking about. I mean, Cincinnati's been under the gun the whole second half here, and you mentioned the Bills not able to close it. But when you're looking at this on 3rd and 2 right now, I think they're in 4-down territory, Chris. I don't care what happens in this one. They've got to go ahead and try and pick this thing up. This isn't a matter of trying to play field position.
Well, especially the way Buffalo's been running the ball, and when you run the ball, you obviously chew clock. So
3rd down and 2. And they're going to throw it. Only a 3-man rush. And that had no chance from the beginning. So the Bengals go 3 and out again.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody can say Andy Dalton, Andy Dalton. He's got nowhere to go with the ball. There's no separation being created downfield with the loss of A.J. Green. Because with A.J. Green, you had to use 2 defenders to occupy him. Now they have help on other guys who can't create any separation.
See, I was wondering about 4-down territory where Marvin Lewis is saying, I'm going to put it in the hands of my defense one more time. You guys got to get the ball back for us. One more shot.
Big punt here by Hubert. But Brandon Tate, a nice return, and still on his feet to the 38-yard line. Of course, Marvin Lewis been here a long time. Only Bill Belichick, who was hired by the Patriots back in 2000 with a longer run at it than Marvin Lewis, taking his team to the playoffs 7 times. Mike McCarthy and Sean Payton, along with Lewis, hired in 2006. All of those others have won a Super Bowl. Marvin Lewis's Bengals have never won a playoff game. They've been in the postseason 7 times under Marvin Lewis. All-time winningest coach in franchise history. He's done an amazing job here. And as much off the field, really, as he has on the field. This was a franchise you were opening up the newspaper every 3 or 4 days and somebody was in trouble. Now you never read about anything like that. But is the pressure really beginning truly to mount? There are many here in Cincinnati that felt like it was time to move on after recent losses in the playoffs. They've stayed with him. The owner, Mike Brown, has. But you wonder, the way it's going this year,
or if not pressure on him, then pressure on him to make some certain changes. That's usually how it works.
Jonathan Williams into Bengal territory, and now time becoming a huge factor under 3.5 to play. And the Bengals will burn a timeout. And while we have a moment, let's check in with Carissa Thompson back in Los Angeles.
Thanks, Tom. You guys got a good one there. Another good one in Minnesota. Cardinals trailing 30-17 midway through the 4th when Carson Palmer finds David Johnson for his 2nd of the day. Minnesota still up 30-23 with just about 7 minutes left in this one. Tom?
All righty, Carissa, thank you very much. Well, you have 1 timeout left if you're Cincinnati. Bills have 2 left. 3:29 to go, and of course you have a 2-minute warning.
I wouldn't even think about putting the ball in the air if I were Buffalo.
No.
And the reason I say that, they have such a varied run game package. I'd throw every exotic run at them I could and work it that way.
Gillislee has been a big-time factor in this game. This is Jonathan Williams who gets the ball, and he's done a nice job in limited carries.
Doesn't matter who's carrying the ball now for Buffalo. They're not just getting what's blocked, right? The term is whatever amount of yardage your offensive line gets that's blocked, that's open, get that. But good backs get more. But look at Williams. He just runs through that tackle. He's running through 2 more. So he got way more yardage than what was blocked on the play. And we're seeing that on just about every run now from Buffalo.
And on money downs, you know who they go behind? Richie Incognito. Yep. Guys made the most of his 2nd chance.
1 second, 3rd, 84 yards, averaging just under 6 yards a carry. And this is Gillislee, and he's denied 1st down yardage. And I think the Bengals are spending their final timeout here. So you'll run one more play. It's a 3rd down coming up. And then you're down to the 2-minute warning. We talked to Rex Ryan. Looking ahead, they go back home to Jacksonville, a tough one against Oakland, but then 3 straight home games. And you figure the weather starts to get nasty up there. Then they round it off at the end of the year against the Jets for the Bengals. Well, I mean, they really have their fate in front of them, but you keep losing games, it doesn't make any difference. You got Baltimore twice, you got Pittsburgh at home, and you also go to Cleveland. All right, yet another important 3rd down.
Rookie 56. Go.
Incomplete.
That's the timing. That's an issue with Percy Harvin. Now he misses him, but that's just because Harvin and Tyrod Taylor are not on the same page. This has got to be elementary right here.
And I mean, one thing you have to ask yourself with Harvin is, does he have the legs and conditioning to drive on that out route? I mean, you know, that wasn't exactly a definitive bank cut to the outside, balls in his hands, just what you mentioned in timing.
And new life for the Bengals.
It's very much been a field position game, too, here in this 4th quarter. Every punt has pinned Cincinnati inside the 10-yard line, and this will be another in that neighborhood. Bengals are out of timeouts. We have a 2-minute warning left. The Bengals had a season low last week. 264 yards of offense. Today they have 227. The last time Dalton brought him from behind to win in the 4th quarter, the 17th in his career, was in week 1 against the New York Jets.
And you guys know the Ryan brothers. I wouldn't expect much prevent here. Okay, I still expect them to bring some pressure, although they may count on that front 4 for those hosses to get after him.
To Bernard. That's a nice job by Brown slowing him down, and then Zach Brown finished him off. Clock running at 2:19.
Chris, I don't know how much blitzing they'll do, but I don't think they'll back off too much in coverage. What do you think?
Well, I know I'm going to play my safety, Steve, because I don't want to give up a touchdown or cheat.
But your corners, no.
Catch by Brandon LaFell on the far side to the 32, a 1st down, and that stops the clock exactly 2 minutes to go. Do the Bengals have a comeback in them? They need a touchdown, trailing by 4.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by State Farm, here to help life go right.
Bengals just picked up only their 2nd 1st down of this entire 2nd half. But they're still in it with 2 minutes to go. Go out of timeouts from their own 32-yard line, a 1st down.
Look at the defensive package. Look at everyone standing except for a couple of guys trying to confuse blocking schemes.
Dalton throws, and a catch made by Boyd. He'll step out of bounds right at the 40-yard line, stopping the clock, 1:56 to go.
They're doing what we call press bail. See, they show like they're playing man, but before the snap they get out of there, so it's basically just a cover 2 or a cover 3 look. They're doing that so they're not going to get beat deep, so they're not playing up tight. They're showing that, but then they're lagging off to playing deep routes.
Second down, and the flag comes down. Giovanni Bernard looking for blockers, and he's all the way across midfield, but is this one coming back?
Yeah, they grabbed Lorenzo Alexander.
Offense over 65. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Boy, this late, that is a killer.
It's been a tough day for Clint Boling, Chris.
Well, he's got Lorenzo coming, and he's going to try to let him go and just slow him down. Now watch. He's going to grab him right here. Yep. That's a little ticky-tack for me. We had a ticky-tack on incognito early. That's ticky-tack, especially on the screen, because Alexander kind of turned himself to chase that screen.
Good thing you would say, though, the officials have been consistent about that call all game. If they see that hand flying and the arm getting out there, that flag has come out. Worked both sides.
Ball would have been at the 50. Instead, it's back to the 30 after the penalty. Pump fake down the middle and incomplete. Threw it far behind Brandon LaFell, who appeared to be open at the 45-yard line.
He's open, but he had to double clutch it because of the inside pressure with LaFell and Dalton.
Trying to work it there with Eifert with a little high-low. Ball ends up behind him.
Double clutched it, so he's late on the ball.
3rd down and 12. Dalton to Bernard, and they close in on him, but he picks up a 1st down up to the 43-yard line, and the clock continues to run.
Beautiful job.
Minute 30 to go.
Beautiful job of hiding Bernard and then having him dash through the middle. He ended up being unaccounted for. Well schemed.
1:24 left. Dalton again to Bernard. And he is wrestled down at the 49-yard line. And the Bengals have to hurry up. They do not have a timeout remaining.
That's why you play prevent defense down here until it gets inside the 20. Then you can go ahead and use your pressure type packages because you have your end line as a 12th man.
Under a minute to go. Again, Bernard underneath to the 42. Well, the Bengals don't even look down the field. It looked like they had a pair of receivers open along each sideline.
One thing they've done, they've slowed down the pass rush because they've tired out the pass rushers.
Play blown dead. Be a false start.
If you're Buffalo, now would be the time to sub in a pass rusher or two if you want to, because you got a dead ball, be able to sub those guys in. Look at them. Yeah, they're sucking a little bit of air because they've had to come at them so often in so many plays.
Kyle Williams just came back in.
Ball start, offense number 73. The clock was at 38 seconds. When a foul occurred, there will be a 10-second runoff by rule. Please set the game clock to 28 seconds, and the clock will start on the ready for play.
So Eric Winston in at right tackle now. Normally that's been Cedric Ogbuehi, but they've been making that substitution for the last few games to give him more opportunities and help the youngster.
As soon as they blow that whistle, the clock will start after the 10-second runoff. And it started now, 27 seconds left. And Dalton looking down the field. And that is a catch made by Burkhead. He's to the 32-yard line, 15 seconds left. And Dalton will spike the ball with 10 seconds remaining. Remember, the Bengals had a Hail Mary at the end of the first half, but that was to A.J. Green in their win over Cleveland a few weeks ago. You don't have enough time for 2 more plays here unless you get a quick out.
You don't even think about that part, really. I think you got to take your shot at the end zone.
Yeah, because you'll probably have a chance of getting 2 shots if you get in a hurry.
And you just can't say it enough. You look back at the bottom note there. If Mike Nugent doesn't miss 2 extra points in this game, the Bengals are a completion away from kicking a field goal to win the game. I mean, even if he misses only 1 point after, they're kicking a field goal, fellas, to try and tie the game. And, you know, Charles Chris, I mean, look, you guys played. You can't point to the kicker and say, there's the reason we lost. But you look back to the game against Washington, misses a point after, you go all the way to London and tie. What does it feel like in that locker room today?
But I think, again, you say we still have these amount of games left. If they do lose, we still got to hang together and keep fighting. We don't know what's going to happen, and it's a long season. That's what you have to say, and hopefully it'll come together. But when you lose A.J. Green, that changes your whole offense completely.
Yep.
And now you're trying to figure out who you're going to throw it to if you're going to indeed go to the line, go to the end zone for your Hail Mary. Who is your big guy throwing it to? Can you throw it down to Eifert? Is he big enough? Are you throwing it out wide? And how are you going to defend it?
Well, here we go. They throw to the sideline. Eifert steps out of bounds with 3 seconds left, so you get a little bit closer anyway. One final try.
Look at this. That's all he got deep. So he ends up getting it short now. Buffalo setting up their defense for one last play. Blanton down.
Blanton injured in the end zone. We'll take one more timeout. Back in a moment. Well, instead of a Hail Mary at the end of the game, that's what the Bengals are forced with after missing 2 extra points.
Well, that's a tough sound, isn't it? If that's your team kicking the ball. And that's a lonely man right there, Mike Nugent. Now, remember, Chris, we always talk about Hail Marys here. This isn't necessarily Hail Mary territory. This is you can actually run more of a semblance of a play because of where they are in the field. But remember, the Bills don't have that eraser, tall, wide receiver back deep to bat the ball away, and Blanton just went out.
Four-man rush. Dalton steps up, throws it up in the air to the end zone, and it is incomplete, and the Buffalo Bills have pulled one out here in Cincinnati on the road. Boy, and the Buffalo defense with an outstanding game today. A maligned secondary. A.J. Green went down early in the game. It certainly changed the Bengals' mindset. But give all the credit in the world, not only to this defense, but to this Buffalo offensive line. And here's one more final look.
Good throw by Dalton, giving your guys a chance. But without A.J. Green, you talk about the tall defender, they don't have the leaper, the great player to go up and get it.
All right, for our entire crew, so long from Cincinnati, we'll be switching you to the conclusion of the Bears and the Giants.